we need to talk about how Florida State got this so wrong with DJ Uiagalelei as Cam Ward is at Miami lighting up Florida. And I think we need to start by talking about who DJ Uiagalelei is and what happens when the portal goes wrong, right? So DJ Uiagalelei was one of the best recruits in the 2020 class, top 10, right? One of the two best quarterbacks according to many. The other one being Bryce Young, who goes to win a Heisman Trophy at Alabama and is a first-round draft pick in the NFL going into year 2, while DJ Uiagalelei is on his third school as a college football player. So he's supposed to be the next Trevor Lawrence, the next Deshaun Watson when he gets to Clemson. He throws a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, and you've seen the measurables. You see how large he is and how strong his arm is. It's about, can he make it happen with accuracy? And it looked for all the world like he could do that. I say that because in 2020, his true freshman year, he had to play in the plague year against Notre Dame on the road, and he was outstanding. He threw for 439 yards and 3 TDs in that game, and we were like, oh my goodness. Had 3 total TDs in this game. We were, again, oh my goodness, and by 2021, he was a Heisman Trophy candidate. Like, that's how we were treating him after what we saw from that game and what we saw a little bit later on when he got an opportunity to play. But 2021 was really awful for DJ Uiagalelei. 55.6% of his passes were completions, just 9 TDs to 10 INTs. He threw for 200 yards or more just 4 times in 13 games for Clemson. And then 2022 comes around. In 2022, he still hadn't thrown for 300 yards since 2020. And he's all right, 22 TDs to 7 INTs. But when they were playing South Carolina in what Dabo Swinney calls a state championship, he completed just 8 of 29 passes, and he was benched for then another true freshman 5-star quarterback in Cade Klubnik. And that ended up being enough for DJ Uiagalelei. So one of the things he pointed to in his decision to go into the portal from Clemson is the offensive coordinator at the time, Brandon Streeter, and what he was asking. Remember, he wasn't recruited by Brandon Streeter so much as he was recruited by Tony Elliott, who was at Virginia as head coach and had left. And Brandon Streeter, quarterback's coach, had been elevated. He said, I told my offensive coordinator, we got to fix some stuff. Like, we have to do some stuff that fits me differently. This is in April 2023 when he's saying he had these conversations from a year ago. I didn't want to run as much. I got tired of running the ball. Sophomore year, I was hurt, tore my PCL, had a broken finger, but I wanted to stay there and stick it out. By my junior year, toward the end, I knew I wanted to get out of here. Yeah, I need to leave and get a fresh start. So that's what he did. He transfers to Oregon State when it looked like Mississippi State, Louisville might be the place where he might go, and it goes fine. It goes better than it had gone the previous year, that's for sure. He threw for 2,600 yards, still his best stat line as a starter for an entire year. He had 21 TDs, he had 7 INTs, and he's 8-5 in a loaded Pac-12. And now we have to tell you, Jonathan Smith got more out of DJ Uiagalelei than Mike Norvell has. And possibly Dabo Swinney did, depending on how you feel about that 439 that he threw for against Notre Dame. So goes back into the portal saying, okay, he's learned some stuff and he knows what he wants. And he told folks that he wanted to come to Florida State. He said, going through the process again, being in the transfer portal, my eyes were set on one school. I wanted to be here at Florida State, and this is the spot I wanted to be in. At the time, remember, Cam Ward is also a guy that Florida State is very interested in because they need just a great quarterback to replace Jordan Travis to get themselves an opportunity to get back to the college football playoff. He said, Florida State's offense plays to my strengths. They push the ball down the field. They're going to take deep shots. They have playmakers all around. Coach Norvell does an unbelievable job scheming for opponents. He's a guy that's he's a guy that's got a smart football mind. Okay. So that brings us up to 2024, where we're looking at a Florida State team that is 0-2, that started out as the number 10 team in the AP and is likely getting dropped later today when you see this segment. And there's nothing else to be said about it except Florida State's got to get themselves off the map quickly because Memphis wants them in the worst way on Saturday. And no matter how much Mike Norvell says he's sick about the start of the season, and no matter how you might feel about some of the things that DJ Uiagalelei was able to do well against Boston College, still 21 of 42, 272 with a TD and a crucial interception in the third quarter. It's Boston College. You're never supposed to lose to Boston College at Florida State, and you're certainly not supposed to do that at home. So you've got fans chanting for Brock Glenn in the background, and that keeps going. And they never saw Brock Glenn, which led me to how does Mike Norvell get to a place where he has to go into the portal to get a bona fide starting quarterback? Tate Rodemaker was supposed to be in this position, and he wasn't that good last year. He's at Southern Miss. Brock Glenn got an opportunity to do this last year. He didn't look great because, again, Jordan Travis had gone down with an injury. And then you got Luke Romanok, who is an outstanding prospect. But you don't want to play him because you know what the red shirt might do. If you could play him in 2025, you want to hold off because you need him in a way that you never thought you would need him going into that season. And then there's A.J. Duffy, who was another guy that I thought that perhaps Mike Norvell would be able to grow up into a player. He's at San Diego State. So you got to go into the portal and you got to go find someone that you think you can fit into your system quick, fast, in a hurry, and it doesn't happen. On the flip side, you've got Cam Ward, who, again, could have been at Florida State. I think had they wanted to pay him to be at Florida State, and now he's at Miami, he's got the Hurricanes right where we thought Florida State would be. And that has got to be galling to Seminole fans, as Cam Ward is the best player in the state of Florida today, on the best team in the state of Florida today. He went for 385 against Florida. They're 1-0. They're a top 25 team. And I'm looking at DJ Uiagalelei, who may or may not get trotted out there against Memphis because they paid a lot of money for him, and now you got to wear this suit looking silly with your 5 browns on, your tan pants, and your dark brown T-shirt, and your light brown shoes, because that's what you told your mama you wanted to wear going back to school, and now people pointing at you and laughing, and you want to know why, and your mama was like, no, I tried to warn you, but we paid all this money for this suit, so now you got to wear it. That's where they're at Florida State right now. This is what happens when you get the portal wrong. It's what happens when Ohio State hits on Will Howard. It's what happens when Miami hits on Cam Ward. It's what happens when LSU would hit on Joe Burrow, or LSU hits on Jaden Daniels. Something's got to give in there, guys. There's only so much blame to go around. I understand that, but it has to begin and end with Mike Norvell. And we're talking about a guy who was really asking a lot of the team that returned. They can't stop the run. They look like a team that is not going to make the college football playoff after just 1 week of actually playing football, because they play week 0, but 1 week of actually playing football. And we got a Mike Norvell whose best quote coming out of this is one that I still got to laugh at. He's like, you got a football team that nobody envisioned ever being where we are and having disappointment, having failure, but I do believe that this team can do. I believe what this team can accomplish. There are a lot of people that are saying, look, Mike Norvell is not going anywhere. You might be right. But if you're a Seminoles fan, you got to wonder why. If you're a Seminoles fan, especially if you ain't got deep pocketbooks, you got to be like, so why didn't we let this guy go to Alabama and perhaps go get Prime from Colorado if that's a thing that you think you're going to do? I'm not saying that that's the thing that they think they're going to do. I'm going to say that Coach Prime got into coaching college football because he wanted to be the head coach at Florida State, and they ended up going with Mike Norvell over Coach Prime. And I think going 13-0 is going to buy Mike Norvell the rest of this year, if nothing else, but that'll be that. And you better have a quarterback, because if you go back into the portal again and you miss again, you're not going to be the head coach of Florida State for much longer. That's just not how that's going to work. That's not going to work for anybody at any stage. I think when I keep looking at the quotes that are coming out at Florida State and out of Mike Norvell, especially following this loss to BC, I'm reminded that Florida State started 0-4 in 2021 under Norvell, and then they reeled off, 8 wins in a row. Excuse me, five of their next 8. So it's not out of the question that they end up with a winning season or that they right the ship, because the next year they went 13-0. But this was the year for you to absolutely go after it, because you got left out of a 14 playoff, and we're thinking if you give us anything like the performance that you gave last year, you're getting in the playoff. And I bet on them to be a top 5 team because I thought revenge and retribution would power them. I thought spite is a powerful catalyst, but not at Florida State. It wasn't spiteful enough. They got to get it figured out because Memphis is coming for their head on Saturday.